For more information on today's program, contact Erica Taylor Montgomery at threegirlsmedia.com. Now, back to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on the Bay Area's business leader, AM 1220 KDOW.
Good morning and welcome back to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on 1220 AM KDOW, the Wall Street Business Network. I'm your host, Erica Taylor Montgomery, and you can visit us online to get the scoop on all of our upcoming shows, as well as the archives of every show we've done, and you can find those at punchmarketing.biz. That's punchmarketing.biz. And also on that site, you'll be able to find blog posts from our guests, including the post from Marilyn Ritter, who's our guest this morning. She's the CEO and co-founder of Creation Ground Media, Creation Ground Media, and we're talking about how companies can use video to promote themselves. So, Marilyn, I'm curious about if companies want to hire an agency such as yours to produce a video for them, what criteria should they look for so they know that they're getting an agency that's going to be able to really perform for them and do what they need to have done?
Well, Erica, I'm glad you asked that because we do often run into companies that have been disappointed in previous. Of course, if they're looking for someone else, luckily if they've had a previous video experience, they have been disappointed. But there are some quite defined steps that you should give thought to and follow through on. And the first one is define your own vision. The start of everything, what kind of a company you are, what's the personality of your company, because your ideal video is going to reflect in the business's, your distinct personality, because it's going to relate to your marketing goals, and you really want the videography company to be able to express those goals. Are you're a casual company, are you a heart-centered company, all of those kinds of things. And from there, you really need to do your research. Start looking at videos around and see what really resonates with you, so that when you request a quote, which you should, in locating those companies that have made videos similar to what you're looking for in the area, you can ask people for. There are many places that you can go and ask people for references and for recommendations on that, and certainly there are many email lists, and we're involved with people like the National Association for Women Business Owners, Women in Consulting. There's so many places that you can go and ask other business owners who they've been pleased with in the video production area. But you do your research, you figure out what kind of videos you are, because when you request a quote, you need to most certainly give the video production company some idea of what you're looking for with that, and that includes your own desired, when you need it, and when are your due dates, and because you need to know if they're really going to have the bandwidth to do it. You need to let them know the length of the video, and as I said, some comparable work with examples, and so. In the background, you're looking at what kind of budget you've got, and that'll help you make a selection of those people. A couple of tips that I would give along with those is make sure they're insured. People, and I will be very frank with you, people very seldom ask us about our insurance. The larger companies, of course, require that, but I'm always a little amazed because you are at some risk when you do go on site with a lot of video equipment and you're in someone's work area. And another thing is don't pay it all up front. The industry standard is either a half up front, that is by the date of actual shooting, or a third, and a third. A third upon signing the contract, a third upon completion of the principal shooting, and then the last upon delivery and acceptance. And I would most assuredly make sure that everyone is agreed upon deadlines and milestones, and that everyone agrees upon that, and that's an upfront thing. And two other short things is I would, in looking at a company, I'd make sure that they understand that you want all those master files. You really want along with the final deliverables, you want all the raw footage, because somewhere down the road, if you want a different version, you need to have those in your possession, because you may or may not want to use that company again. And who knows, things happen.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, the licenses and rights for everything. That kind of a company, you need to have a company that pays attention to that, and that appropriate releases are signed. So those are all part of a professional video production company, and that does not necessarily mean that it's expensive, and those are also things you need to take into consideration, when you're doing things yourself, that, just take care on keep those raw files. If you're doing it yourself, you might want to use some of those other things later.
Sure. And, one of the things that you mentioned, Marilyn, is budget. So I'm curious if somebody is going to hire a professional videography company, what sort of budget should they look at setting aside for a standard promotional video that's, say, 90 seconds to 2 minutes?
Well, I would say around $5,000, and it can be a little less, it can be a little more, depending upon the how elaborate it is. But you know what, Erica, I would like to throw in here, this is a good place to mention this, that sometimes we have folks contact us that they have a vision of what they want, but they're not really prepared or have the time to do it themselves. Mm-hmm. And we just did something like this with a large company here, and what we did was we said, well, look, we realized that it's for generating some income for a charity, and they couldn't really pay us for us to completely do it, but we did a combination of things. And I sat down and I said, look, if you do all of these things, we'll edit it for you, and here's how you need to do it. And they knew they wanted it to look like, but they didn't really have the bandwidth to really pull it tightly together and to give that the kind of polish that they thought would attract the contributions that they were looking for. And so we did a combination of do-it-yourself, and they did all the background work and all of the scripting. They pulled the shoot together, and we just came out. We did a really short shoot with some interviews, and then we edited it together. And then when we were editing, they gave us complete feedback on it. We just sent them all the rough cut. They said, oh, this, that, the other, let's include this, gave us a completely detailed list. So our time was more, rather than a project, it was more hourly on that. And, they were pleased with the result. They would never have had time to edit it all together and to put that kind of polished thing together. But they had all the ideas, and they had all the resources, and they had fun.
Terrific.
So they were very involved. So I think that's something that people should take a look at. And also, if you are thinking about doing a do-it-yourself ongoing video, but you just don't know how to get started, hire a pro to come in and help you set up a little lighting, a practical lighting scheme in the office that you can duplicate every time. Work with you a little bit on your camera angles and how all that works and the sound, and give you some advice on that, and then just go from there. You're doing it yourself with that, but you've gotten that start on it, and even give you some advice on editing and how that goes. Maybe set up a little intro and a little perhaps some music that can be reused each time, and you're set. You've got a template for going forward and creating your own show.
Fantastic. So obviously there are a variety of ways to affordably work with a videography company in different increments, depending on how much you can do yourself and then how much you want the videography company to do for you. And that's one way to keep your budget down. So when we come back from the break, Marilyn, one of the things I want to talk about is if a company wants to do it completely on their own, what are some good resources for them to use and to get them started? We'll cover that right when we come back from the break. You're listening to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on 1220 AM KDOW, the Wall Street Business Network. I'm your host, Erica Taylor Montgomery, and we will be right back after the break.